Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? It's DFS Hart, and today I'm breaking down the 9-game NBA slate that we have on February 6th. Before we get into that, I just want to say, welcome to my channel. My name is Hart, and I make daily NBA, NFL, and PGA slate breakdowns on Draftkings, where I'll be going over the best plays of the day and give you some building blocks and core plays that you can put into your lineup. Please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. It really helps out my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DFS Hart to keep updated on all things DFS. I'll be answering any questions you guys may have. When injury news comes out, I'll have pivot plays and kind of give some quotes on who I think you should play and who not to play. And before we get into it, I just want to say, let's take a look at my lineup from yesterday. My thumbnail was obviously Pascal Siakam. I mentioned he's in a great spot against Brooklyn. But I started out with Peyton Pritchard at point guard. Based on the value in the news, we had OKC as all the chalk value, and then Pritchard was coming back, and with Marcus Smart and Kemba was, I think, questionable or limited. I was assuming, Jaylen Brown, sorry. Marcus Smart's out and Jaylen Brown was out, and Pritchard was getting a good amount of run before he got injured, and he came back. They didn't say he was limited, so I went with Pritchard. He ended up losing minutes to Carson Edwards because Carson Edwards was shooting pretty well. But, he still kind of got me there at 14.5. Not the best, but I'm fine with that. Kobe White started out with 13. He scored 13 points at half and then ended up scoring 3 and doing nothing the rest of the game. So that was pretty frustrating. Low price tag, low ownership, in a great spot, but he just kind of failed on me. Jeremy Grant, I say it every time, I hate him. 7K, great price. He went off against the Suns earlier in the season. Not a bad matchup for him. He got 21 points, which is fine, but he just didn't get any rebounds. It's just like every time I play him, he just never helps me out. 27.5 really killed me. As you can see, I won $1.50. I only played a small $1 single entry lineup because I was working out, so I didn't have time to keep my eyes on all the news. But yeah, this is my lineup. Went with, as mentioned, Pascal, great spot. Started off a little slow, but ended up, 65.5 basically. Miles Turner, also in a great spot. He was doing well. I think he had like 23-ish fantasy points at halftime, and then did nothing. They pulled the starters and went with their bench because they got him back in it and were doing good, so that's pretty annoying. Jordan Clarkson, it was a great matchup. Unfortunately, the game blew out, so he didn't get his full run, but he did okay. Hamidou Diallo, the chalk, 36. And then Vooch, as I mentioned in my video, one of the best plays of the day along with Siakam. He went for 77 against the Bulls. Just went off. So, yeah, $1.50, not too much, but it shows that my core plays, the people I'm breaking down are getting me there, which is nice to see. Now let's hop into the Vegas odds. Excuse me. We got the Bulls, Magic, 1.5 point spread, 224.5 over under. Nets 76ers, 4-point spread, 237.5 over under. Bucks, Cavaliers, 10.5 point spread, 228 over under. Spurs, Rockets, 1-point spread, 223.5 over under. Wolves, Thunder, 1-point spread, 219 over under. Raptors, Hawks, 4.5 point spread, 225.5 over under. Warriors, Mavs, 4-point spread, 232 over under. Grizzlies, Pelicans, 1.5 point spread, 226 over under. And Pistons, Lakers, 14-point spread, 213.5 over under. Bulls versus Orlando is the first game of the day. It's a rematch from yesterday. It's a back-to-back. So Zach at the top at 8-6. I'm more than fine than landing on Zach. He's going to get the minutes, all the usage. It's a good price for him. It's just, you kind of hope that he goes for more than the 39 to low 40s that he's been getting right now, but he does have that huge upside into high 50s and 60s. With Laurie being out, that's even more usage to guys like Zach and Kobe. So I do really like them both. Laurie is questionable, but I think he's trending towards being out tonight. We'll have to see, wait on the news, but Zach is firmly in play at 8-6. So is Thad Young. He'll get even more minutes. He's been getting about 30 minutes a game. He'll probably get closer to 35. Kobe White, same thing. I think I might run it back with him. Great price tag. He's just been so inconsistent, but I'm fine with going back to him at 6'2". Wendell's still out. So then guys like Otto Porter is out indefinitely. I don't know why it says questionable, but he's not playing. So guys like Garrett Temple, Pat Williams, Denzel Valentine are secondary options. They're in play, but I wouldn't trust Garrett Temple at 4'8". He has been able to shoot the ball well, but I don't know if I can do that today. Pat Williams did play really well yesterday. He's only 4'4". I think he had a career high, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, assists, and a block. It shows up. 35 fantasy points. Price tag only kept $400. He's not a high usage guy, but he will, the past 2 games he's taken a lot more shots, which is nice to see. You can definitely take a shot on him. I say he's pretty good value at 4'4". And then a guy like Sato, I think he got about 20 minutes. Excuse me, 21. I could see his minutes going up to at least 25, maybe close to 30. He's a good playmaker, good ball handler. They're going to need, guys to step up. So I can see him giving it to Sato. So if I was, I really like Zach. I really like Kobe. Thad is a solid play. And then Pat Williams is pretty good value. And then you can definitely take a shot on Sato. He's going to get at least 20 minutes, if not more. And has the ability to have, a good game at 3-1. He'll probably be low owned too. Orlando side, Vooch, firmly in play once again. Only 8.9. Price tag didn't even go up that much. Only went up 400, sorry. Same matchup, great spot. Now I am a little worried people are going to chase it and he's going to have just insane ownership. I think it was in the 40s to 50% yesterday. I could see maybe 60 to 70 today. But we'll have to see and wait on the ownership news. But 8.9 is more than fine to play Vooch again and run it back. You can take a shot on the guys like Fournier and Anthony. Anthony had a good game yesterday. He does have a little bit of higher floor than Fournier just because of the assists. And then they're more secondary plays. And then GPP play would be Ross 4.9, score independent. But yeah, you can definitely go there. Toronto versus Atlanta. Fred VanVleet at top 8.4. As I mentioned every slate, all 3 of these guys are in play. They're all pretty good options. It's just you never know who's going to go off. Yesterday, Fred VanVleet, I think he played terrible. Let's see. 4.16, 11 real life points, only 30 fantasy points. I know he's pretty popular. People chased the big game, and it didn't work out. So maybe that's a sign about Vooch maybe not working out today, but I just don't see how it doesn't work out when he's playing. Even when he has all the usage and he's playing the Bulls. But maybe that's something you keep in mind if you want to fade high on Vooch. Kyle Lowry and Pascal both went off. As I mentioned yesterday, Pascal was in a great spot. 66 fantasy points. So if I had to choose, it would be Lowry or Pascal on this side. Norman Powell not for me at 6'8". And then you could take a shot on a guy like Boucher. The Hawks are pretty tall with Clint Capella and John Collins, so I'm assuming Boucher will get at least 20 minutes, which he's been getting the past few games, maybe a little bit more if Baines gets in foul trouble. That's really it for me on this side. It's just more of the top 3 guys for me. And then, GPP play on Boucher. Trae Young is questionable, so we have to keep an eye out on that. But if he's in, I'd say he's a decent option in tournaments. I don't know if I'd get there at 9.5 against the Raptors, even though they haven't been playing great D recently. Clint Capella at 8.5. You can definitely look to him. Let's see. His minutes have been down recently, but it's because of most of the games have been blowout-ish. His minutes have been trending down, which is something you don't like to see, but I'd say it's a pretty decent matchup for him. Price tag's coming down, so you definitely take a shot on him. He has huge upside. I like John Collins in the spot. If Trae Young's out, John Collins gets a ton of usage. He didn't really do well last game because it was a blowout, but I'd really like him again if Trae Young's out, but we'll have to wait on that news. Hunter's still out. So guys like Herter and Reddish are both in play. Herter's 5'4". Did okay in the matchup against Utah. I'd definitely run it back. He's going to get at least 35 minutes, closer to 40. Pretty good shooter. Can get you to those rebounds, assists. So I do like him a decent amount. And same with Reddish at 5-1. He's been slowly picking it back up. As we saw, 30 minutes, 5 of 14, 20 fantasy points. He'll be low owned. He always is low owned, but he does have that high 20, 30 upside. So I'd say he's pretty viable at 5-1. And then if Trey is actually out, you can definitely run it back with Rondo again. He'd be one of the best value plays of the day. I think he's like 0 of 11 in his 3 starts this season. I think he was 0 for 7 last game. But he still got you there with rebounds and assists. So he's always in play. And it's just if he scores, that's an added bonus and can get you like 30 plus fantasy points. But yeah. Milwaukee, Cleveland. They kept it close yesterday, but there is, huge blowout risk in this game. Giannis went for 64. I think you can expect that again. It did blow it in the end, but, it's just risky. 11K for, 50 to 60 fantasy points is nice, but maybe it blows out earlier and he doesn't get his full run. It's just, if you're willing to take that risk. I think it's shaping up to be another another balanced approach today. Drew Holiday and Middleton are both in play. It's just, I never like getting to them, especially in matchups against teams that are, they could easily blow out. Because all three of them could have good games, but, be in the 30 to high 40 fantasy point wise. And it's just, I don't know if I want to get there at this price. You can always look to Bobby Portis to 5-6, as I mentioned. He's going to get at least 20, maybe 25 minutes if it's a blowout. His price tag is kind of up there right now, so you don't really have to take a shot, but he does have high 40 upside. He's playing well. Cleveland side, I'd say Drummond at the top, 7-9. He played 30 minutes last game. Yeah, 30 minutes exact, which is nice to see. Didn't do too well, but he has huge upside. I do think he'll be semi-popular today just because people are going to want to take a shot on that low price for him and his high upside, even though it is very risky because this game could blow out and they could just bench him. But I do really like Drummond a good amount today. Sexton, you can play him at 7-3, but he's not for me. His price is up there. Nance is questionable. So if he's still out, you can look to guys like Prince and Osman to fill up his role and value. They'd be okay options, but if he's in, not really for me. I think if he's in, that'd really help Drummond have a better game because he wouldn't have to. I don't think Drummond would be guarding Giannis, but it would just help, keep him away from foul trouble if Nance was guarding him the whole time. Darius Garland's price has come up to 6-4. I just want to get there. Yeah, I don't really like anyone on the side besides Drummond, who I think is shaping up to be one of the best but riskiest plays on the day for GPPs. San Antonio, Houston. We got DeMar DeRozan, top 7-2. Great play today. Great matchup. Should be a high-scoring game. Should have a ton of usage because DeJounte Murray's questionable, LaMarcus Aldridge is still out, and Lonnie Walker's still out. So DeMar DeRozan shaping up to be one of the highest owned players of the day, but that's fine. I'm going to eat the chalk at 7-2 probably. DeJounte Murray, if he's in, he'd be firmly in play at 6-8. He's got a high upside, but if he's out, that's going to give more run to guys like Derek White, Patty Mills, and Vassell. So I'd say DeRozan is the top play. Murray's out. Keldon Johnson becomes more valuable at 5-8. If he's getting the minutes, which assuming he will, he has the ability to go off 38, 48. So I can say we can expect at least 25, if not 30 minutes out of Keldon today, in a great spot. This game will be the most popular game to do game stack, just because of the the high upside and all the players and the high scoring. So keep that in mind. But I do really like taking pieces from this game. Podol, you can look to him. He did get extended. He was great value last time. Got 40 fancy points. He did get 4 blocks, which is a little unusual for him, but he'll probably get 25 to 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more if he's doing really well like he did last game. Excuse me. You can let it go there. I don't think I will. His price has come up. It's a little too high for me. Derek White, 4-7. I think he might be the the second best play on this side with Keldon Johnson. His minutes have been trending up. He is a good shooter. He can get you rebounds and assists. Sometimes he is a little scoring dependent, so you got to keep an eye on that, but it's a little risky. But I think we can definitely go back to there. I feel like he's going to get at least 30 minutes. Now, Patty will take up some usage at 4-2. He'll be the lowest owned player, I think, on this Spurs side. But he's going to get at least 25 to 30 minutes. Good shooter. So you can definitely look to him for low ownership and hope the other guys do bad. Rudy Gay. He's going to play at 4-1. Not a really high usage guy. But he's probably going to get at least 25 minutes. And he can definitely get you there if he's having a good game. So it's not a bad matchup. So I think all these guys on the Spurs side are firmly in play. My favorite plays would be DeRozan and then Derek White. And everyone else is secondary plays, but they're all good options. Vassell would be good value. Rudy Gay has good upside. It's just if he's getting the minutes. Patty Mills, lowest owned guy, but he does have huge upside if he's hitting the shots. Derek White, I think he'll have a good game today. Keldon Johnson, firmly in play. So, you can pretty much take anyone you want from the Spurs side. They all have huge upside. They are a little risky because it's the Spurs. Might pop you, but I think they're all firmly in play and looking to be the best value of today. What is out? So it's going to be, DeMarcus Cousins chalk night. He'll probably be 40% owned, maybe a little bit more. Oladipo is in play at 8-2. I just don't like that price tag. It's a good matchup. He's going to have a ton of usage. John Wall is questionable. So he is firmly in play. I don't know. I just don't like him at that price for me. John Wall is questionable. So if he's out, obviously more usage for guys like Victor Oladipo, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Gordon. But if he's in, you can play him at 7-5, but it won't be for me. DeMarcus, play him at 6-3. Trust me. Best player of the day. Eric Gordon, 5'8". If Wall is out, I'd look to Eric Gordon over Oladipo. He's scoring dependent, but that's a good price for him. So my favorite plays on the side of DeMarcus and Eric Gordon. Minnesota OKC. Towns is questionable. You can definitely play him at 9-9 if he plays. He'll probably get his full amount of run. He's been getting at least 50 fantasy points in the few amount of games he's played this year. 52, 46, 54, 52. It would be a great matchup for him. You can definitely land on him, but I don't know if it's me. D'Lo's price is slowly coming up. I'd rather get to Beasley just for a little discount. He has been playing better than D'Lo recently, 42-38. So they're both in play, but I'd say they're secondary options. I don't want to look to anyone on the side at all, really, especially if Towns is in. OKC, we do have to keep an eye out on this news. If SGA is back, and same with Theo, and Lou Dort, I'd say SGA would be one of the best plays of the day if he's not limited, just at 7-4. If this game stays close, it's because of him. He'll probably play, 35 to 40 minutes if he's playing well and get you, 40 plus, 50 plus fantasy points. So we just got to keep an eye on this because it changes the whole, how you attack the whole slate based on all this news. Because if everyone's out again, Horford will be firmly in play. Same with Bazzi, Diallo, Kendrick Williams. You can take a shot on Justin Jackson, Muscala, Roby. So I'd say just, wait till later in the day to see how it turns out with the news for OKC. Brooklyn, Durant is out, which sucks. It makes no sense how he can't start because of inconclusive test, and he's, been in contact with someone. Comes back, plays 18 minutes, and then they pull him again because the person he was in contact with was positive. He's already had it. He has antibodies. He can't give it to anyone else right now, so it makes no sense. And the fact that he's out today and maybe possibly 3 or 4 more games, it's so dumb. The NBA's fumbling the bag. But enough of my rant. You're going to want to get a piece, at least one piece from the Brooklyn side. James Harden's shaping up to be one of the best plays of the day, just at 10-7. Going to have a ton of usage now that Durant's out. Playing a ton of minutes. He hasn't been shooting the ball a ton when he's playing with the big three, but when one of them's out, we see them get 15, 20 plus or shot attempts. He's triple double upside, so I do like James Harden a good amount today, 10-7. Same with Kyrie. Kyrie would be higher owned than Harden just because of the price difference. Kyrie is firmly in play as well. He's been playing really good this year. So I do like both Harden and Kyrie a lot. You can take a shot on a guy like Joe Harris, but at 6K, I don't know if it's for me. Jeff Green, he'll be getting at least 30 minutes at 5'2". It's a decent price for him. It's just he's not a high usage guy. You need him to shoot the ball well. Otherwise, he's kind of stuck in the 20 fantasy point range. So you can definitely land on him. Maybe guys like TLC and Bruce Brown will get a little bit more run. I don't think they'll get a ton. All the usage used to be with Kyrie and Harden, so they're shaping up to be the two best plays of the day. On the Philly side, Joel's questionable, Ben's questionable, Seth's questionable. So this is definitely news we have to keep an eye on. Because if one of them's out, the other one who's in is a really good spot. But if they're both out, then we're going to have to look to guys like Tobias Harris, Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey, and then the bigs like Bradley or Howard. So this is another game we have to keep an eye out for, all the news, because it's going to affect the whole slate, how people attack it. So we'll just leave that. We'll bookmark that and come back later today. Or, follow me on Twitter at DFSHeart. I'll give you, I'll keep you guys updated. I'll say who to play when we get the news about who's in and out. So make sure to follow me on there at DFSHeart. Golden State Dallas rematch. Golden State blew them out last game, which is annoying because I had Luka. Steph had like 45 fantasy points through 3 quarters and didn't get any fourth quarter run. 28 points. I mean, Steph's firmly in play again against Golden State or the War. I can't even talk. I need more coffee. He's firmly in play against Dallas, like I mentioned, every slate. 9-7. His ability to break the slate. I feel like people might chase Oubre just because it's a huge game. It's annoying because I played him so many times at the beginning of the season, and he was horrendous. He was going like 1 of 10 every game, and now he has a career high day, 40 points, 59 fantasy points. So at 6'2", you can definitely look to him in the Wiggins. Wiggins will probably be lower owned. People are going to chase Oubre, but it's just not for me. Draymond finally had a great game. I mentioned he was a great play. I don't know why he didn't play him. But, yeah, he got almost a triple-double, 11 points, 15 assists, which is just super annoying. Just one of those days. 42 fantasy points. You can play him again. He's going to get a ton of minutes once again, but he's not as good as a play today as he was last slate. Pascal's questionable. If he's back, it does take a little bit of minutes away from Damian Lee, Kent Bazemore, Wanamaker. Toscano Anderson, if he starts again, he could be in play at 4-2. Played 40 minutes, 35.5 fantasy points. I guess he is decent and get, some points and some of the peripheral stats. And is it, we saw last game, even if it blows out, he is still going to stay in and get run. So, I think he is a safe value play at 4-2. I don't really like him. I mentioned last slate, look to Damian Lee or Bazemore. And they both, for extremely low ownership, both had really good games. Damian Lee had 28. I think Bazemore had 24. So we got to keep an eye on Pascal news because if he's still out, you can definitely look to Lee and Bazemore again. Coming off the bench for low ownership compared to Anderson. Dallas. Luka at 11-1. He's always in play, but at that price, not for me. He's been so up and down recently. They've just been really bad. The Mavs have. So, I mean, you can bank on them doing extremely well and Luka having a huge game and them destroying Golden State because they've just been getting beat up the whole time. But I think it's just a fade for me today on the Dallas side. Porzingis isn't played 8-2. His price has come up a little bit, but it's the same matchup. It's a great spot for him. No one can really guard him. It's just, do they keep it close? That's been the problem with Dallas so far right now is they've been terrible and getting blown out. So you got to hope they keep it close. Otherwise, you're screwed when you play the top 2 guys. Hardaway, I mean, the rest of the guys on the team you can take a shot on. Brunson came off the bench and did well for them. At 4-5, it's not a bad price. He played 22 minutes, 28 fantasy points. So, I mean, my favorite play would be how many minutes did Kleber get? Or Kleber? 20? Finney Smith, let's see. 27. I guess my third favorite play would be Hardaway Jr. just because of his scoring upside, but everyone else is really just, GPP dart throw. Either going to pay off or they're going to do terrible. And they're more likely to do terrible than pay off. So, Porzingis and Luka in play, that's it for me. You can take a shot on Hardaway and hope he scores well, but not really look to anyone in that game. Memphis, New Orleans. Jaws firmly in play at 7-6. As I mention every game, we don't know if he's going to get a full amount of minutes or run. The Memphis Grizzlies have been playing pretty much anyone they want. They've also been getting blown out, which is you don't want to see. J-Val is back. So if he gets his full amount of minutes, I do have some interest in Jonas at 7-1. If he could get close to 30 minutes, maybe get extended because he's doing well. I mean, he has huge upside. It's just his minutes haven't been there this year. He's only been playing about 30 minutes, so he's kind of like in Al Horford territory, but he'll be low owned. We'll see if he has minutes limit. If he doesn't, I think he could be a pretty good sneaky GPP play today. And that takes some usage away from guys like Brandon Clark, who's questionable, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, Tillman, Dieng. So I'd say my favorite play on this side would be J-Val without a minutes limit, and then Morant. And then Dylan Brooks would be like a secondary option, 5-5. Score independent guard. Play about 30 minutes. If he's not hitting his shots, you're screwed. So, and then you can take a shot on guys like Tyus Jones, Melton, Bane. Now that Allen's back, it's just a logjam of players off the bench. So I'd just take a shot on J-Val and Morant and just hope they get the minutes. It's kind of a prayer, but not a ton of interest on that side. Zion at the top, 8-4. Price is getting up there. He doesn't really have a huge ceiling, so not for me. Ingram. Damn it, click Zion. Ingram, 8-3. As I mentioned, he has a higher ceiling than Zion. He played well last game. 39 minutes, 48, closer to 50 fantasy points. Got rebounds and assists, which he's been struggling with. So it's a good matchup, so you can definitely look to Brandon Ingram again. He'll be low owned like he is every slate. Steven Adams' price did come up. He played 30 minutes last game. I mean, he's always a play. He doesn't have a huge ceiling, but I'd say he's more of a cash game play at 6-2. Lonzo and Bledsoe, as I say, you can always take a shot on one of them. I'd say, always lean towards Lonzo. That really does it for me on this side. Not too much interest. And the last game of the day, 12.5 point spread between the two, so there's huge blowout risk. Jeremy Grant at 7-1. I mean, it's a great price for him. Bad matchup, but he'll probably go off for like 50 or 60 because I'm not going to play him, and they're going to keep it close for some reason, somehow, against the Lakers. So, not for me today. It'll be low-owned GPP play, so you can definitely look to him if you want to, but not for me. Plumlee will get about 30 minutes. It's just, can he stay out of foul trouble? He's an guard. Gasol and AD. DeLon right now for me. I mean, no one's really in play for me. D-Rose is out. Ellington's out. So guys like, Magruder, Sadiq Bey, maybe Mekhi Luke or Frank Jackson, they'll get some more minutes. But I mean, you can definitely take a shot on one of these one of these 3K guards because it is a 12-point spread. So maybe they get blown out right from the beginning and they get a lot more run and close out the game. So it's just your risk tolerance. I don't really like anyone on that side for Detroit. And not really for Lakers. AD and LeBron are both probable. The price tags are just about right. The 12.5 point spread does, make it risky to play both of them just because they might not get their full run. So you can definitely take a shot on guys like Harrell, Kuzma, Horton Tucker, who's been getting a decent amount around the past few games. 22 minutes, 31 fantasy points. If he gets the minutes, he's a great point per minute guy. It's just he'll go on streaks where he'll play 20 minutes and do pretty well, and then the next game they'll just like not play him DMPM or play him like 10 minutes. So I do think Taylor Horton Tucker is a decent GPP. Dart throw today at 3.7 with the blowout risk of this game. And that's about it. I'll give you guys a core. It's pretty hard because there's a lot of injury news that's going to affect the whole slate. That will probably come out later today. But right now, let's just say Harden. I'll go with Taylor Horton Tucker. Just to get some value in there. And then I do like Derek White. Good amount today. Where is he? And DeMarcus. I'd say that's my core as of 11 a.m. James Harden, Derek White, DeMarcus Cousins, Taylor Horton Tucker. As I keep saying, with all the injury news, it's going to affect the whole slate. It'll probably happen 5 minutes before lock, so it's going to be crazy again today. But this is what I'm liking right now, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, as it truly helps out my channel. I greatly appreciate it. If you made it this far, I will say I have a couple of announcements that I'm coming out with like a new series or daily video series for my channel. It's gonna have a cool thumbnail. It's gonna have about 5 to 8 minute video. It should be like a little breakdown. So these are my main breakdowns of the whole slate. I'm gonna try to get better. Putting up early in the morning or the night before, and then probably midday, I'm gonna come out with like a 5 to 8 minute video of the best best studs and the value plays of that during that time. So there'll be a lot of new content coming out, and I'll better explain it in the future videos. But yep, that does it for me today, guys, and